Thank you, Tijn Touber, for coming to this friendly chat. As we were mentioning before, this is an idea that we both have. We wanted to start interviewing friends and chatting with friends. And I talked to him, he talked to me, and we came up with the idea. Actually, it was his idea to, hey, why don't we just interview each other? And I think it's an excellent idea. And we were talking that we might use it in the future to interview future friends, masters, or people who are very inspirational for us. And so I had to say already thank you also for that. We're gonna talk a lot why in my case I'm so grateful and I'm so glad that you came today to share also your perspective about life, your teachings, your music, your books also, that they are amazing. So having said that, guys, I want to introduce to my audience, to my community, my friend Tijn Touber. For me, he's a friend, he's a teacher, he's an amazing being. He was the one who opened the door for me in Amsterdam when I went to Holland. I didn't plan to go to Holland. It was just I just like, hey, what is the next place I can visit? I remember I took that globe map. I put my finger. I landed in Holland. I said, I wanted to go to Australia, but I said, okay, let's not cheat. I went there and I met at that point Irene Sportel, and then she introduced you to me. And from there, you asked me, hey, what do you do? And then I start to share with you, even with some friends. And you say, hey, we have to do something in my living room. So why don't we do an introduction? From there, we can do like a seminar or something to introduce these teachings to our friends here in Holland. And for me, it was a shock to see somebody so generous like you, that you were already very well known. I don't know if we are talking about year 2014 or 2013. It was only one decade ago.
Yeah.
And you so generous, open your space, open your house, open your heart. And from there, your friends came. And from that moment, I felt so welcome in Holland that right now I'm still going in Holland, and the audience that's so big, and they are coming from your part also recommended. Also, I recommend them to go to your events. They're talking beautiful things about you. And I said, man, he did that for me, because this is not something that you normally see in the spiritual community, in the sense that people tend to, okay, this is me and that's it. But you say, no, no, no. Okay, I hardly know this person, but I feel that he has something beautiful to share. And I felt the same about you, like, wow, this is so generous, it's so wonderful what you're doing. And from there, I just feel gratitude, and people who have changed their life thanks to also my teachings, your teaching, they feel the same. So they have gratitude, and they even, some of the ones that 10 years ago, they went to the introduction, they still coming with family members. Now they have grandsons and so on. So lovely. So having said that, Tijn Touber, I have to say thank you. Thank you for being here. It's an honor. And I would like also, I don't know if you want to share your part of our meeting.
Yeah. Very much. I still very distinctly remember you ringing the doorbell, and I didn't know, of course, who you were. The funny thing was, you didn't really introduce yourself. It was just very natural. You just walked in, you had your handpan with you on your back, and you just sat down. I think we had a yoga or a meditation meeting with Irene was there. And I think for the next week or so, we just connected. And it took me a little while to sort of understand what you do, who you are. And more, I got to know you because you're not the kind of guy who comes in and says, I'm a healer, I'm a teacher, I'm a master. Not at all. The only thing you said at some stage is, do you want me to play a little bit of handpan? And so very slowly and casually, I got to know you, and I was like, wow, this guy really has a lot to offer. And I don't know if you remember, at some stage I had a lecture somewhere and you came along, And I was aware that you didn't understand a word of what I was saying, but you were there in the back, just shining, you know. And that evening, it was the World Cup soccer, football. And I remember that because I also like to see some of those games, and I think it was Holland playing against Spain. And we were sitting in this little cafe because we didn't have time to go back to Amsterdam to see the game. And we were sitting there, and I think Holland beat Spain 4-1 or something like that. So, but you were sitting there and just smiling at every goal that Holland was making. And I thought, gee, this guy is really enlightened, you know? We are beating him completely and he's still smiling. Now, I'm a believer. So that is, I think, how our friendship started. And you know, when I started inviting friends to my house, I saw the incredible effect that your healings were having, and I was just like fascinated because I know a lot of healers and teachers, but in your very modest way, the effect that you have on people, and how, especially what I was very fascinated by is that when people, you know, when you were able to take away these thoughts that were disturbing them, these misconcepts basically that are changing their whole physiology at some stage, that when they were away and then when they would sort of come out of their sleep state where they were just integrating, that they couldn't even remember what their problem was. And that for me was like, wow, this is really, really amazing that somebody can, you know, worry about something for like 20 years and within 20 minutes it's just gone, you know. And I was like, wow, this is really something. And so I'm so grateful to you as well. And I think just about every lecture, or I don't like the word lectures because it you know makes me feel like I'm above others. It's not like that. I always just talk to people, we exchange, but um, I talk about you, and especially what I do a lot also is the forgiveness meditation, which is so incredibly powerful. And I always give this beautiful example, what you once told me, that there was a guy in Holland who was trying to forgive his father, and then he sent you an email and he said, you know, I forgave my fucking father. Now what? I just love that.
And then I realized, oh, this practice had to be explained in a deep way. Okay. Yeah, yeah,
Exactly.
lovely to hear all that. The entire God still is in my mind, as a very loving memory, how the way we met.
Yeah.
Um, that's why I want to ask you a few questions, and if you like, you can ask me any questions. But I would love my audience to know you, because you use also a very horizontal and very close way to communicate with people, and even with music, with I consider is the most amazing ways to connect with people, through dancing to music. Um, you also write amazing books. I remember at that time you have this book, it's Yogi Power, if I
Yeah. Yeah.
record properly,
Yeah.
who was like a big success. People were talking about it, and even you create this amazing way to connect with meditation. Meditate. Correct me if the name is not right. Is meditation from your living room, something like that, or you?
Yeah. Yeah. It's called Stadsverlichting, or in English we call it Cities of Light.
Yeah. Uh,
Yeah.
since we mentioned this, how did you come up with that idea? What was the purpose of it? Because it's brilliant. It's just brilliant.
Yeah, so I came up with the idea because I love meditation. I think meditation is more or less, if you could call it that, my core business, because I always feel that when you go deep inside, you reconnect with your true self, and it's very easy. I try to make everything I do really easy and accessible. Try to get rid of all the you know, sometimes meditation or spirituality or whatever you like to call it can be so complicated and with all these rituals and, you know, woo woo. And so I try to make it as simple as possible. And for me, what meditation is really is just remembrance. That's it, you know, just remember who you are. And so then I realized that when people meditate together, it's like a force field that we create. And I read some very interesting research that was done in the 80s and 90s of the last century, where people would get together. One I particularly remember is in Washington, D.C., which was one of the most criminal cities in America at the time. I think it still is probably. But what happened was some yogis flew in, I think about 1,000 yogis, and they said, we predict that if we sit together in meditation, that the level of criminality will drop with 20%. And so the chief police officer had to be contacted because, of course, they had to see if this was actually happening. And he didn't believe it at all. He literally said only 6 feet of snow can bring criminality down with 20%. So in other words, only a natural disaster could do this. But you know, he was a sporty guy, so he said, you know, okay, I'll play along and we'll see what happens. So in a month, actually the criminality had actually dropped with 18, 19, sometimes 20%. And so they continued doing these research also in Lebanon at that time. There was a war going on, and they saw that in cities where people were meditating, less bombs were actually dropped. It's like, how does that happen, you know? And this is something also a nice question for you maybe later. But so I thought, you know, if this is true, then probably the best way to bring Holland, or to start with Amsterdam, where I live, in a state of flow is to just bring people together. And the prediction or the research suggests that if you have around 3, 4, 5% of the population really being in this state of what they call coherence, you know, like really focused and really in this silent space, then that is enough to elevate the level of consciousness, so to say, in a city. So I just, you know, invited friends, neighbors, people into my living room. And after a few weeks, I did that every Sunday evening. And then after a few weeks, my living room became too small because there were too many people. And I suggested to people, well, you also have a living room. Why don't you open your living room? And so they did that. And it started snowballing. And now I think there are about 1,500 living rooms participating in this, experiment.
Wow. Can you, since you're talking about it, can you tell us what day of the week, or if there are other days?
Yeah, so every second Sunday, everybody meditates together. And you can go to the website citiesoflight.org or stadsverlichting.nu in Dutch, and you will find all the living rooms. And personally, every Sunday, I do a free meditation at 8 o'clock to, you know, just as a service to the community. The thing is that during the COVID period, people didn't dare to go to the living rooms anymore. And so we had a bit of a backlash in that sense. And so what I did in those times, I just started doing it online because I wanted it to continue. And I've just been doing that ever since. So every Sunday evening at 8 o'clock, I do a meditation.
Okay, great to know. So people, they will know they can join every second Sunday of the
Yeah,
month.
of the month.
Great.
Exactly.
And you said, did you say 8 o'clock?
Yeah, 8 o'clock.
Clock is after Amsterdam time, I understand.
Yeah, normally it's an hour. And so the formula is that people come into the house in silence, and they sit in silence for an hour, and then they go away again. Sometimes people serve a cup of tea, you know, that they can chat a little bit, but it's all based on silence. Yeah.
Yeah, that's excellent, loving idea. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Great. And tell me, I'm so curious. How do you start sharing, let's say, meditation, the teachings you're sharing? It was like a natural next step for you, like something triggered something in your life that you decide to wait a moment. I'm gonna just focus on this. Or how do you come up to that point?
Yeah, that's a good question. Interesting question. I started meditation when I was 27, and I'm 63 now, so it's a long time ago. But I never started meditation because I wanted to help others, or I wanted to become a coach or a healer or a guru or whatever. I did it for myself. And in those days, I was in a sort of a rock and roll band. We were very successful. We were even going to tour with Prince. I recently found this again. I don't know if you can see it, but this is my platinum record, and
Wow.
this that I sold 100,000 copies. So in those days, it was very, very successful. But for me, it was a little bit like I'd been in the music scene for a really long time, and I was really tired, basically, and there was lots of drugs, and the sex, drugs, and rock and roll lifestyle, I guess, was sort of bogging me down, and I was really longing for something deep. I was thinking, is this all there is? Even though I'm successful, I'm still not happy. I'm still not peaceful. I'm still running. I'm never really enjoying life, and so then I thought, but if I'm not happy now, then what is happiness? I should be happy. I have a beautiful girlfriend. I am very successful. Even Prince wants to tour with me. Why am I not happy? And then I realized, well, happiness is not another golden record or more success, but it's inside. So I started meditating, and that really, I don't know, it just felt like coming home. And I realized this is it for me. And then I started, I'm the kind of person, I guess, like you, who you don't do something half, you do it all the way, just go all the way. And so that's what I did. I really dove deep in. I went to India a lot to study with the yogis. And basically, for 14 years, I just went underground, so to say. I stopped the music business, and I just really got into that. And then, in a very natural way, because I was benefiting so much, I started communicating this with others through articles, sometimes interviews, because people knew me from those days, and they were sort of curious, like, what's this guy doing now? And so I had the opportunity to speak about that, maybe on radio or television things, and then I started writing books. And but the reason why I'm saying this is what I see these days a lot is that people go into the field of spirituality to become a coach or to become a healer or to become a guru or whatever they want to become. And I think there is a little bit of a tricky side to that, because it can become like a business thing. It's something you want to, yeah, maybe earning money. And I'm not against earning money, but if your first intention is to become successful, instead of that it comes from inside and automatically just pours out, then there I think is a tricky part to it.
Yeah, that's good that you mentioned, because I can see that many people that are in a hurry these days. In a weekend, they are gurus or
Yeah.
such a all of the time like a profession. As you mentioned, you've been meditating like your whole life basically. And when I started, I was 19 years old, and now I'm 47. And it was not only after almost like a decade or something that I decided to share it with big audience, right? Once you feel that there is this congruency, like okay, I feel that I'm talking the way I'm living, and everything's an example of the teachings, right? And
Yeah.
from there, you start to share, and you connect so easily that you can live, let's say, by sharing, but it's very organic and it's very loving, and people connect. There is no hurry, there is no, how you say, the sensation of business. It's just a way of
Exactly.
of sharing like friends, like without an agenda or anything, right? And I see this in you and many others, but right now there's like a hurry, like I have to do my business on, and it's good that you mentioned, because when people take it easily, they okay, I'm gonna just integrate this, and then they discover that there is this truth living within you, and when you connect, the natural next step is going to be sharing, but it's going to be different because you activate this principle of abundance, that once you connect with your inner being, is like connecting with the whole universe. It's abundance. There is not a scarcity there, and from there you can share without hurry anything, and everything comes to you, or people offer you a place to stay, people offer you food. It's so beautiful because it comes naturally, without being in a hurry. Because I see a lot of maybe it's your case also, a lot of students who have a lot of potential, and when they start to be in that hurry, you see that the spiritual ego triggers up, and then
Yeah, yeah,
the person is totally lost in that, and that person is lost in belief, and then he think that is the right path, but it's good because he will learn a lot.
yeah.
But all of a sudden they don't vibrate in that let's say loving frequency that they were before. So it's good that you mentioned that, because it will help a lot of people to just to, hey, don't be in a hurry. The right time will come at the right time.
Yeah. So, Jose, can you tell me, you were 19, so you were really young when you started. So how did that happen for you? What was your situation that you sort of changed your life completely?
So basically, to make it very, very easy and short, I was so lost that I didn't want to live anymore. But I didn't want to end up my life like in the classic ways, like, harm myself, or taking some drugs and die. I just wanted to die more epic, like surfing big wave. But when you want something so with so much emotions, life, by this let's say balanced law of nature, they will put it away. So I try to kill myself by surfing, but I will never succeed succeed, because I will fail. But then I realized, hey, if there is something else, I remember it was one day I was surfing in early morning. I was crying, looking at the sky, because in me it was like a little hope. Like, okay, before trying to kill myself again, is there anything for me to just to follow that path, or something like that? And I felt that day like a kind of different breeze coming from the ocean, and I felt like, whoa, something happened here. So next day I saw in the city, in Arrecife, in the island where I live in Lanzarote, just a little sign that it was a Buddhist teaching conference. It was called "How to Deal with Your Conflict Emotions," and I said, "Okay, that's interesting." So I went there and I saw that Lama. His name was Lama Sanje, and funny enough, Sanje means Buddha. Um, but I didn't know. But I like the Sanje. It sounds funny for me. And I went there, and everybody was in their 60s, and I was the only little child there. I was 19. So he said, "Hey, don't believe anything. Try this." And I tried that practice, and I felt a huge difference. And I felt, "Oh, what is this? It's like energy going around me. This is weird." And then I wanted to learn more, but they told me, these courses you have to pay, and I didn't have the money to go there. But then the Lama came and said, "Hey, why don't he take us in the morning, since we're free, for an excursion, and we can visit the island?" So I said, "Okay, I'm free in the mornings." So for 3 years and a half, I was taking these Lamas and take them for excursions to the beach, to go to visit, and they became my friends, and they were sharing with me what I call non-dual Buddhist teachings. And from there, I learned, and then they start to invite me to monasteries in the Himalayas. And from there, I learned everything without any, let's say, I was not studying philosophy or anything. It was like, hey, try this, try this, try this, try this. And because they want me to be like that. And then they introduced me also to one of the greatest master for me in the world. Now he passed away in 2013. It was Akon Rinpoche. For me, it was an enlightened being also. He also changed my life. And from there, just try to summary everything up. From there, the shift when I was 24 years old, my separate self-mind totally collapsed. I remember one morning I wake up and everything was so slow but pristine and crystal clear that I thought I was dreaming again. I was dreaming, so I went back to my bed and I tried to sleep and I said, oh, this is happening. This is not actually a dream. And from there, I couldn't even relate to people in my house. So I made that an excuse that I was stressed out and I have to go for 3 months to a stress out center. And I went to the Himalayas to ask my friends, masters, how I can relate to this world. And it was so beautiful. So when I came, nobody noticed the difference. I was still in that state. Everything was slowing down. Everything was pristine, clear, so loving. But nobody could see the difference. I could be dancing salsa, surfing again, everything, but nobody will notice anything weird. So, because at the beginning, everybody was, hey, are you okay? Because if I see a little flower breaking up the pavement, I will stop. Like, oh my God, look at the miracle. And I will stay there sitting down with some friends, wondering if I was crazy for 2 hours trying to explain the miracle of a little flower breaking up in the pavement. And from there, just to finish with this, I start to share with friends who were close by, family members, and then little by little, people, they were asking me for more and more, and then you know me, I'm sharing with more people.
Yeah, but it's not just a philosophy. I mean, because for you, it's more a healing practice now, right? I mean, you do of course speak also, but can you tell them, you know, me, but also the audience a little bit more about how the healing came about?
Yeah, I remember one of those days that I was with those masters. I was surfing in a rocky place that the rocks, they are volcano-like, and I hit my knee with one of the rocks, and I was so much in pain that I thought I broke it. It was bleeding. It was really painful, and to get out of the water it took me like an hour. So when I came to them, there were two of them sitting down smiling, and I said to them, hey, let's go to the hospital because I have my knee is injured. They said, no, don't go to hospital. Hospitals are dangerous. And then I said, imagine a 19 years old guy. You say that, okay, maybe in you, because I was so straightforward. Maybe in your third world country, they're dangerous, but here in Europe, they are not dangerous. Please come with me. No, it's very dangerous. Get back to the water. And I said, no, I can't. He said, no, and they say something that it broke my mind. It made my mind blow away. He said, you believe that your knee is broken. And I said, no, I don't believe it. It's broken. He said, your belief is making that injury is happening. And then I was so shocked. I think in that moment I was so shocked that the guy, he just moved his hand near for my knee. I felt a clack, like a strong noise, and all of a sudden my knee was back to normal. And I said, get back to the water. Hospitals are dangerous. And I went to surf again for 2 hours more. Like, what the hell happened here?
Yeah.
And then I asked them, hey, what happened? What did you do with your head? He said, you are not ready now. You will know at the right time. And then I have to wait for a few years. And then they said, you're ready. And then I was introduced to Rick Energetic Healing, which is something that I share and you also know. And from there, I tried to go deeper. And another master who of like they coming from the same system, he went to live with the Aboriginals in Australia, and he created something that he called it. He said, he said, that's it. But nobody could relate to it. And then he talked to me. I was in Australia with him. He shared his teaching with me, and then we asked permission to make it more relatable to people, because back in the days it was only for masters of the masters or masters in this Repair Healing. And from there, we create Dharma shamanic system, which is another way of healing. Basically, is somebody who is living out of fear. He gets sick. If you see in the hospital, people, they are not there for sickness. They are there because they are afraid. Once you project that light, that energy, it reminds you that you are love, your life, and all of a sudden, these frequencies and energy of fear start to dissolve, and then we see miracles, as you said, like they don't even remember how they came and what was the problem.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we met, I think it was 1.5 months ago. You were in Amsterdam, and we hadn't seen each other for a little while. So I was thinking, oh, I got to see Jose again. And then after a while, you saw me sitting there in the audience. You said, "Hey, my friend, come here. What can I do for you?" And I said, "Well, nothing, I think. I mean, I'm fine. There's really not really a problem." And then you said, "Well, but is there something?" And I said, "Yeah, well, now that you mention it, my throat is hurting sometimes, and when I get up in the morning, and sometimes when I give a talk or something, it starts itching, and there's something." And then, so you said, okay, let's feel. And it's very interesting because I'm writing a book now. And this book, I mean, what it does, I think, or what it will do when it comes out, it's going to kick down a lot of holy houses, as we say in Holland. So like a lot of the concepts that we believe in, um, I'm going to kick them down in a sense. So but I know that in these days, I've had quite a lot of experience over the last few years, that every time you say something that goes against the official narrative, you get in trouble. So last year I've been called a fascist. I'm a gay hater. I'm an anti-Semite. I don't know, but it's just because they want to bash you. And so I was a little bit afraid, writing this book. I thought, should I really speak my truth, or should I be a little bit more careful maybe? And so then I was standing there, and you were standing next to me, and you said you felt so much energy, but you said you know so much more than you are actually saying. And that is why it's blocking, because you're not completely speaking your truth. And then you did your magic, so to say, which I want to know more about. If you can elaborate on that maybe a little bit more. But and it just sort of left me, and it's amazing because ever since, it's gone. And I also feel that I'm on path again, because I was doubting a little bit, should I do this or should I not? And now I'm very sure that I should just follow my path, follow my bliss.
Yeah, it's what I always share with my masters. Back in the days, Buddha and others, they were not understood by people. They used to throw stones at them, spit on them, string at them, because this is part of people who are hypnotized by the matrix. And when they see somebody who is say, "Hey, you can be awake, you can be actually free from there," it's like you go to a nest where there is like a wasp, the wasp, the insects there, and you agitate it, and then they come to you. Um, but no matter what happened, life is with you, and if your message will touch one soul that is there, that is waiting for that information, that is kind of hidden or only for some specific people, and you just touch with that heart and you change that life, it will be worth it.
Wow.
It will be worth it. Some of the old audience, maybe they will not understand, but they will get, the let's say, the old part of the teaching, which is good. But the new ones, or the new information that is more relatable to these times, it will be much appreciated also.
Yeah.
Because the times are changing, the energy is shifting, and a lot of truth is revealing itself. That's why we have now Dharma Shamanic system. You are coming with this, because when I saw you, I saw like a beautiful flow of energy, that it was stuck because you were afraid, as you said.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
everybody's gonna be against me. But
Yeah.
again, I know you, and your words are all the time loving. I remember once I said, I just put in my I post in my Facebook, love is a universal force, is everything. And somebody put, hey, you're a chauvinist. And I said, okay, okay, okay. Love is a universal force or is something like that. Okay, okay, okay. Okay,
Yeah.
continue. Okay, good. But you see, whatever you say is something will trigger. But this is
Yeah.
okay, you know, because we are not here to expect to be liked by everyone, but to touch those hearts that they're there who have a seat and they just need that specific drop in order to bloom, right?
Yeah.
So that's it. And when I felt that, and I said, "Oh, let's help my friend," and then I felt it. Something beautiful is gonna come. In your next teachings and in your next books. I'm sure.
Oh, thank you so much. You know, one of the things that really helped me, and I think I'm only beginning to really understand that now, is that you said one time that the body, no, you said the mind is not in the body is in the mind. Now that really blew my mind. You know, I got home and I knew you were right, but it was like it was such an explosion in my head. But so can you maybe explain that a little bit more or talk about that?
Yeah. You know, when you mention that we meditate in a specific city and the whole criminality or even fear start to dissipate, is because everything that you see is happening in your mind. It's when you're going to dream. Your reality is your blankets, your pillows, but when you close your eyes, your mind starts to project things and you see things. If you get attached to those things, you believe they're real. But when you create a little bit of a space and you look, hey, wait a moment, I am the dreamer who is dreaming. It cannot be hurt, it cannot be touched, it cannot be destroyed. It doesn't even have an opinion. Okay, there you go. The world, even in that dream, you're traveling around the cities, you're traveling in your mind. So there is one mind dreaming, and that mind is looking through our hearts. Very curious. What is going on from
Mm.
millions and millions of beings, insects and people, maybe from other planets. I don't know. They're looking for the same thing. Let's see, and it's there. And another example is like, okay, imagine the ocean. Okay, and then there is a wave called Tijn Touber and another wave called José Antonio Manchado. And we believe that you are the shape, I am the shape. And we start to lose track of the water. And then you say, hey, wait a moment.
Yeah.
The form is happening on the ocean, the wave. Then I am the ocean, therefore pure consciousness. And on the top, floating, there is the wave. There is the body, right? But you are the water that is within you, within the Dalai Lama, within a beggar, within somebody who is now hugging another person, is in everywhere. That's why when we say namaste, say, hey, I see the water in you.
Mm.
Not the shape, I see the water, which is the same water I have.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah, you know, it also really helps me to understand that everything is created by mind, even my body. And because sometimes we feel so, um, you know, we feel a little lost, but also we seek help outside of ourselves. Like you said, you know, I have to go to a hospital or I have to maybe find somebody who can help me. And it is because we don't realize how incredibly powerful we are and that we are actually the creators through our mind of this reality. But and then when that really registers, and I'm really getting that now, I realize I am the creator of everything, you know, and that gives a lot of power and responsibility as well, because you realize also like, okay, the situation I'm in now, I created this, my mind has created this, it's all in the mind, and my body is in the mind, you are in my mind, everything is in my mind. The only thing that sometimes, I don't know if you have that as well, it sometimes makes me feel a little bit lonely. It's like, you know, because everything is a figment of my mind in a sense. And so there's nobody here except me or source or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Do you sometimes have that feeling that you are alone?
Um, okay, I don't have that feeling, but I understand because through my process, I was sometimes asking that questions to my masters. And then I realized something. If you look at a tree, right, and you have many branches, imagine one branch saying, I feel so lonely. You see? And
Yeah.
I said, hey, why don't you realize that you're the tree? And then there's so many branches to have fun with, but still it's the same tree having fun with himself, right?
Yeah.
And then in some people they believe that a branch just looking in one direction. Oh, I need another branch to be happy, and then another branch is manifested nearby because you are a creator, as you said, and another branch. Now I think that that branch will make me happy, but that branch sooner or later, something's gonna be on the way. Maybe it will dry up. Maybe it will find a better branch than you, and then you will start to feel more separation. And then you
Yeah.
say, "Hey, wait a moment. First, I'm gonna connect with the tree that I am, and from there, I can connect with other branches as one. And then I am in this party of oneness, where everything is a joyful experience of wow. I cannot be alone because I am so many, so like billions of branches having fun, but I am one tree because all what the branches are feeling, the tree they're feeling at the same time, and the
Mhm.
tree is watching through them the experience.
Yeah.
So, but I understand. But if you go deeper, you will realize that hey, wait a moment. Yeah, first I have to go through that lonely feeling, and then hey, wait a moment. I cannot be alone even if I try, because I am the tree with so many branches all over, billions and billions insects, animals, a dolphin, a koala, even a killer. A killer is part of the experience because what we are is non-dual, but it came here to experience the duality and say, okay, give me death, give me life, but give me love, give me hate, give me love, give me fear. I want to experience the whole thing.
Yeah.
It didn't say just let's do and live the circle of life in a half. It's like the whole
Mhm.
thing. And then when people get caught up, and then why people are killing each other? Because it's part of pure consciousness who wants to see what is the contrast. How would that be something different from me?
Yeah.
And then we came here, and people start to realize, hey, I don't have to judge this, but I'm going to learn from this. I'm going to remove all the causes that they are creating these things, and let's see what happens. And then you start to live in the kingdom of the tree, or the kingdom of heaven,
Mhm.
while you
Mhm.
see the story of the branches, but you are not identified anymore. I
Mhm.
don't know if people are, or I'm sure you're getting my let's say metaphor, but
Yeah.
it's something like that. But
Yeah. 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 It resonates with me. I can feel it, what you're saying. And there's one question I would like to ask you about. You said that one day you woke up and it was like your mind had collapsed in a sense, and there was this pristine feeling. Do you sometimes lose that, and do you have to sort of get it back through maybe through meditation, or is it more or less a constant state now?
you know, even if I try, I cannot get back.
Okay. Yeah.
Even if I try, sometimes when I'm talking to people and they tell me, no, I'm worried about this and worried about that, sometimes I don't even remember how that sounds. And I have to tell you, how does it sound? And I start to describe it because it was, right now I'm 47. And when that collapsed, I was 24. So it's a permanent state.
Yeah.
Like there is just, you're dreaming. It's like, imagine you have a lucid dream and there is like a bunch of wolf trying to get you, and you say, hey, I can't fly. I
Yeah.
am the wolf. I am the tree and everything. But no, as a concept, I am the wolf. And you're running. No, no, no.
Yeah.
And the wolf cannot bite you because you realize the joke. Hey, I am all that. But no as an idea, right? So yeah, it never shifts. At the beginning, you have some, let's say, revelations, some insights. But then it's gonna be a moment, since you are removing all the energy and the power you're giving to the ego mind,
Yeah.
then it collapses because it doesn't have any more fuel. It's what I teach in my meditation courses. It's like, let's see how the program of the ego works, and from there, let's dissolve the energy, the fuel, and let's know the tricks and the traps.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, boom, and you can see the people after a year, like, whoa, my life is so different. I have lucid dreams. I'm not reacting anymore, and you continue following up, and you see how they relate now to life. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, I recognize that a lot. I mean, in the first years that I got into this whole yogi thing, I had a very strict discipline. I know from you that you also had to go through a lot of initiations, which were not easy. It's maybe nice you could share a little bit about that as well. But I really went through a lot of discipline. I got up every day at 4 o'clock in the morning for meditation. I lived celibate for 14 years, no meat, just getting really deeply. And then after those 14 years, there was this feeling I got. Distinctly remember getting up in the morning and wanting to sit down for meditation, and then thinking, what's the use? I mean, I don't have to do this anymore. It's just going through the motions in a sense of it. It's me now. And then it was very interesting to see, because then I thought, for me, it's more of a challenge now to get back to the world, to live a normal life, to go out with people, maybe dance, make music, drink wine, whatever, anything now, and see how that relates to my state of being, instead of trying to hold on to this state of being. I have to be a yogi. And it was really wonderful. And I can't say that it's like a permanent thing, but it's so close always to me that whenever anything happens in my life, like maybe a calamity or something, what would be considered something bad, there's always this really big distance from it, and there's always this inner smile. I never panic. There's never a feeling of, oh, this is wrong. I mean, it's there sometimes. I see it in my mind sometimes, these thoughts go by, but it never really touches my inner core anymore. And it's just a beautiful state to be in.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's what I love about this world, that you can use different spiritual paths, and all of them they're rivers that they're going to the same ocean. Some of them maybe they take longer, maybe another one they go faster, but at the end we're gonna meet up there and we're gonna hug each other, and we're
Yeah,
gonna realize that everything was a joke. It was children playing like in the kindergarten, right? And yeah,
exactly.
one of the let's say signs that you are in the right path is when you feel this, the sensation of peace and distance. You're not reacting, but sometimes you, like when you're dreaming, you're dreaming, you have a partner, and all of a sudden the partner is not there anymore in the dream. Yeah, you will say, oh, it's not here, and you will feel these feelings, but deep inside, you can connect still through the water, since we are wave in the ocean, and you can connect with this.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, that's fantastic the way you describe it.
Yeah. So I remember that one time you said, you had to go through these different initiations. And if I remember, there's one more initiation you need to go through, like being buried underground. Uh, yeah.
Yeah,
Do you,
this, this is something for the energetic healing practices. So people who cannot relate, all of a sudden we're talking about level 4 in let's say in energetic healing. So people are gonna be shocked. So I rather not to mention that one because it's a little bit too much for people.
right.
But let's say that um, when you are in a path that, in my case, is a traditional path that they have like maybe 1,000 years old. They have different kind of practices in order to, let's say, to see if you're ready for the next step. Especially for hard cases. I was a really hard case at the beginning. I was so full of doubts and so full of belief and so on. That, but the good thing for me is that when I met these masters, since I didn't treat them as master but friends. For example, I remember in the morning we were on the beach, we were throwing at each other's ball of sand, even in the eyes. You couldn't see for the whole afternoon. Um, we were like, like wrestling each other, that try to put yourself, themselves in the water, that pulling down, and just like little kids. And then in the afternoon, I have to be serious because they were doing these Buddhist kind of, let's say, teachings. And I remember I was entering like this, and one of the masters just hit me in the neck. So everybody said, what happened? Because I throw a sand ball in his eye, so he couldn't see from this side. And it was so funny to see how everybody was like, hey, the llamas. And I was like, hey, these guys are crazy. You know, they bite me, they insult me, but in a funny way. So for me, it was never orthodox, right? So for me, the next level, it was natural, and then it was some initiations, but I don't want people to make them believe that they need to go through initiations, because I know people who just practicing in their house when they decide, hey, enough of suffering, enough of living in fear. I'm gonna give my life, gonna surrender to the truth within, and then they wake up and they connect with the inner masters. But in my case, since I was a hard case, I have to go through so many different initiations. One of them, it was basically, for example, to stay in a dark cave for 40 days by myself, like a really deep cave, and you didn't even know if it was a day or night. You just were there, and when you're there, what happened is that you start to activate your inner view, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I had to repeat the same initiation 2 more times.
Whoa.
So
Wow.
so I went there like 3 times, and after those practices, it was a shift for me.
Uh-huh.
But then people, when they listen to this, they, for example, they go to Nepal and call me from there. Hey, what cave? It's like, what apartment? What monastery? Hey, tell me the lama. It's like, who is the hairdresser? Which one? It's not like that. You have to actually be invited by the masters, and so on, right? So people, they try to, as we mentioned, to jump and rush. And yeah, I went to the cave. That's it. Oh, are you vegetarian? Oh, if I eat vegetarian, I get enlightened. Oh, do you eat carrot cake? Okay, he got enlightened by eating carrot. Because we have the tendency to summarize everything in the physical world, but it's the opposite. It's within, and everybody, according to the conscious level, they have different practices. It's what I try to do in my events, to give them different kind of tools in order for them to connect with the right one.
Yeah, and what I really like about you and what I recognize so much is I think we have the same kind of humor, the way we bring things, and also there's in both of us very much a longing to bring this across to others. And I remember you once said that sometimes when masters get to a certain degree, they don't even bother with the world anymore, which I can understand because you get to a state. I sometimes have that. I sometimes think, why should I do this? Why not just sit in the sun all day and just enjoy myself? I mean, what is it for you that still keeps you wanting to help others, so to say, to bring this across?
For me, there are two things. First, the inspiration that I got from Buddha. Buddha himself, when he got enlightened, he have two options. Oh, what about go to the forest, disappear there, blend
Yeah,
everything, and that's it?
yeah,
Or what about trying to help others to wake up and feel the same? And this guy, I'm saying this with a lot of respect and love, he created more than 80,000 different teachings. At the end, he was so tired to repeat the same that he took a flower, and the lecture of the flower, he said, guys, be like the flower.
yeah, yeah,
Maybe two people, they go, okay, just be still,
yeah.
surrender, open up, no controlling, be there. He tried with a lot of love. Even when people spit on him, he will smile. He will take something to wipe his head or face, and we said, please, every time you feel like spitting, come up, spit on me, because you're teaching my student how to deal with anger. He will all the time like this. I think he had a lot of fun. So
Mm.
I decided to do the same, because I imagine myself when I was 19. I was so afraid, so tired of living. I couldn't even see the joy anymore. And I wonder what happens if no one will share with me this.
Yeah.
And I decide I'm gonna do it, imagining that it's me who needs that, because it's true. You are what you see, and then there's so much joy when you see now there are thousands of people that they give you feedback in the faces. Oh my God, this is gone. Or all of a sudden they said, I'm not suffering anymore. I don't need to control anymore. I just feel myself that I'm part of the wholeness. Or for example, in my retreats, when they come and I said, okay, in this retreat, you're gonna talk to the trees, and you see this laughter, like I say, this guy is crazy. Yeah, but anyway, you just let's do the thing, and at least we're gonna be here. And when you see them, they say, they look at you after one day. Hey, the tree talked to me. Don't tell to anyone, because my wife will think I'm crazy. So the wife was there also. So you said everything is talking to you, because you are everything, not as a concept, because people, they come with a lot of concepts. Yeah, I read this, I know that. They come with the spiritual, right? And I said, spiritual ego. And I said, hey, drop everything, don't believe anything, feel it, boom. And they connect with this open universal feeling that is where life is. And then they are not thinking anymore, because they just have this feeling and they're living the life, feeling through life, not thinking, because thinking is a contracted energy. And in those events, I let them feel what is the separate energy, they feel the contraction, and what is the space in the heart. And they felt energetically the experience. And from there, they said, wow, this is something so big. And you see that from that, their life changed. And how couldn't I stop this? I have to continue. I don't know for how many years, because maybe it's going to be a moment that maybe if a little bit older, I don't know, I will stop. But for now, I'm having so much joy with this.
Yeah, you're just having a lot of fun. Do you think that there is something happening on our planet, on Earth right now, that humanity is sort of ascending or getting to a phase that we can, as a whole, sort of get out of the suffering that we've been in for a long time?
Yeah, if you look around, when there is a lot of consciousness rising up, at the same time, the contrast will rise up. If you see, there is a lot of consciousness, but at the same time, people are hypnotized with social media, TikTok, the news are telling you that there's a comet coming, it's a virus, or it's this, and now it's a UFO. Somebody will get you, because the consciousness is rising. So contrast, we need the contrast at the same level. So if it's a smart contrast, so much craziness, at the same time, you see this consciousness going on, and new information is coming. And that information is coming because we are shifting. Remember, if you're shifting and the world is happening in your mind, the world will shift. But everything, the yin and yang, is going to shift. But because we need the contrast in order to wake up,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah,
You said you went through some experiences, the contrast, hey, enough. I was depressed, enough. You have to read the point, enough. Okay, I see the lies now. Now it's the truth. If you see people before the COVID and everything, they were believing everything, and now, hey, and now people are coming more to people that are asking me, please let me know how to meditate, because I'm gonna get crazy,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
So
yeah,
people are more inclined now to go to the natural way.
yeah,
At the same time, you see a lot of people hypnotized with the mobile phone and so on,
yeah.
but it's part of it, because there is more consciousness, there's more darkness or the shadow of it, but
Mhm.
they are part of the same, so the yin yang. But people, they confuse. No, they focus now in the dark part. No, leave it. From here, look at that, and then you start to see it like part of the the growing and the shift of the information. And right
Yeah.
now, information is coming, and new information. People, they need to open up the mind. Otherwise, you cannot survive anymore on this planet. People who are thinking maybe like 30 years ago, they'd rather die. They're dying because they cannot relate anymore. And they subconsciously ask for dying or to get a disease and disappear. You see that. Sometimes I get them, I talk to them, I energetically help them to dissolve this, and they start to be alive again because they are seeing the new life with old eyes, right? So yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. You're absolutely right. And so though you know more than me. So share your part if you want to add anything about this.
Yeah, I think when I look in my surroundings, I think a lot of people are waking up more. I mean, when you look at the whole COVID period, for instance, on one hand, it's a complete disaster in my opinion. You know, it's like it's crazy. But the upside of it is that a lot of people have started to think more about, you know, what is really going on. And so it's become much easier to talk to people now. I also experienced that. I mean, when I look at my popularity, not that I'm in it for the popularity, but when I look at my Facebook or YouTube or whatever, I think in the COVID period, I've just exponentially grown. You know, I think now I have something, I don't know, like 100,000 people following me, you know, and before that it was maybe a quarter of that. So that tells me that more people are interested in these things. Um, and I think that's a good thing. But what I wonder is, you know, when I look at my own life, I'm more and more able to look at the concepts, the things that are like propaganda or indoctrination, all the concepts that are untrue. And what happens is they fall away because I don't take them seriously anymore. I don't believe in them. So what happens is they sort of started dissolving. And at some stage, I wonder if a lot of people do that, do we still need that contrast? Because will that contrast be even there? Because you're just not giving it any energy. That's what I wonder about. You know, will there come a time when maybe not everybody, but a lot of people go beyond this duality?
Okay, from the way I'm seeing life, you are pure consciousness, having an experience of duality as a dream. By the question, how would that be a place different from what I am? I'm oneness. How would that be a duality, a dual world? It's like, for example, you're in Holland and say, hey, how would that be the life in Canary Islands? And you start to imagine, okay, I would be surfing, I would be more on the beach, maybe taking some exotic drinks, exotic people, exotic dancing, right? And then you create this whole thing in your mind, and then and for you, it's like a distraction or it's something to have fun, right? So consciousness, since it's a creator, it
Yeah,
was there feeling like hundreds and thousands of millions of times this love and explosion of joy and said, hey, how would it be something different from this? And then you create a thought. That's why many masters said, you are the thought of God. You are the thought of the universe, right? And
mm,
then thought create a, a reality that is an apparent or a dream reality. And we are here apparently projected. And then the tower happens, José Antonio Manchado happens, our audience is happening, boom. And then
yeah,
we need the contrast because we want to experience this.
yes.
Once we realize this, if you fight against duality or the contrast, it grows. So focus in the part that is more connected to your true sense, the trait of the inner being, harmony, calm, peaceful, sharing, joy, right? And then you will not be affected by the contrast. Therefore, you're gonna see less contrast because the contrast
Yeah,
made you to be in that state already. That is
yeah,
not even a state, it's a being, it's you. And
yeah,
then the contrast, you don't need contrast, but others, they will need that contrast because the contrast is necessary for them to wake up. Otherwise, they're going to be hypnotized
yeah,
with the devices and so on.
yeah,
Contrast to happen for people who need it. You
yeah,
know, it's part of the
yeah,
divine role here.
yeah. So it's a good thing.
Yeah, because there is no good, there is no bad.
No,
Everything is.
exactly.
God is, the universe is, love is. If you add something, you have a story now.
Yeah, yeah. One of the things that I'm practicing a lot is something you told me once, is the mantra of I don't know.
Yes.
I think that was for you also something that really helped you to collapse the mind.
Yes, I was practicing that mantra for 5 years, and it works amazingly. Because the mind needs fuel, and the fuel is your attention. And then, if you see the thought of being, how you say, preoccupied or worried is, what if? You're in the beach. Hey, what if somebody break into your house in Amsterdam? Right? Or what if you die? What if this sensation that you have in your heart is that you're gonna have a heart failure? You know, and it's all the time giving you this feedback. And I said, it comes. It said, what if you say, I don't know, and you
Yeah.
drop back into your heart, I don't know. And even if you want to make it even more stronger, I don't know, but I know that life is taking care of it. Oh, peace.
Oh yeah.
And then the
Yeah.
thought of the ego, it needs conflict, and you're not giving any resistance to that. You're not participating. And then, since it doesn't have your energy, because your energy make a thought alive, because the thought is not alive, it needs your energy. The thought, they are not entities who are waiting under your bed when you wake up, they jump on you and they trap you. No, you are addicted. You wake up in that space. If you do that practice in the morning, you wake up and you don't follow any thought, you're so peaceful there. And then a thought said, hey, where was I yesterday? Oh yeah, my ex. Oh yeah, the money. Oh yeah, this government. And you need a thought to be unhappy and to suffer. What
Yeah.
about, hey, the thought is coming, hey, I don't know.
Yeah.
No, life is taking care of it. Or hey, I have no clue.
Yeah.
But really meaning it, it's like you
Yeah.
have to train your
Yeah.
mind in order to access to that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean it when you think about it, we don't know anything. We don't. I mean, that's the interesting thing about it, that when, all these opinions we have, all these concepts we throw around. I mean, when I think about the education I got in school, it doesn't make any sense. All the things we learned in history or whatever, it's just a story. And so that's why I like this I don't know so much, because it really liberates you from holding on to belief systems that in the end just get in the way. And I think probably that's what healing is about. I mean, maybe you can just elaborate on that a little bit more, because I think that's for most people, I think that's what they are longing for. Many people are sick these days, and I know that when I speak about you, I often say he's the most amazing healer that I know, anyway. And but they want to know, but how does he do it? And I always try to explain that sickness comes from concepts, and these concepts start, creating emotions, and these emotions start, but when you take the root away, the root concept, then just the whole thing sort of collapses. But maybe can you just explain a little bit more about what healing is and how you actually do this?
Okay, in order to simplify, because sometimes people they come to me and they think I am like, I touch them and they are just free from the sickness. It's not like that, because what I do is to give them some practices and some things that they have to change in their life. And I'm gonna put you an example. It was a woman who was living her life just for the rest of the people. She was all the time not thinking about herself, but more thinking about others. Um, if you are in this life, you come here to enjoy your life and at the same time share that joy with others. But you cannot forget about yourself, because if you forget about yourself, you enter in this contracted, separate energy where you are in the ocean. You believe now that you are a shape on the ocean, a wave, and then you believe that the purpose of your life is taking care of other shape in the ocean, and you forget about the water. And
Mm.
then you start to live a life that you're depending on others, you're depending on your body, and you just think that you're separated. And now you don't see life anymore. So sickness comes to you like a waking up call to tell you, hey, wake up. Because remember that you are the water. And when you are feeling that you're the water, you can enjoy your relationships. You can enjoy your life. You can actually live your dreams. Don't forget about yourself. Don't forget about expressing what is within you. We all have this gift that is there, and the world want to enjoy that with you, right? Um, and that woman, she have cancer. She start to change those patterns, and the cancer start to dissolve because that fear energy start to dissolve. So every time we get ideas that we forget ourselves, but with a lot of excuses. If you talk to them, they will give excuses like, "Yeah, but they're my family. I don't know how to live my life in a different way." And I said, "Yeah, I know that you don't know how to live your life in a different way, but the way you're choosing right now is killing you.
Yeah.
It's actually removing or damaging your health." And then say, okay, I'm gonna just add a little bit of shifting and changes, and from there they start to heal. It's not just you just press one button and that's it.
Yeah.
Somebody has to do something also. You know, it's you do some actions outside and some actions within. So that would be. So basically, healing is when you are reminded that you are love and you are not fear, and from there we see miracles.
Yeah. 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 Beautiful. Yeah, I've seen it happen many times in your surroundings, and but I am aware of the fact that you it's not just touching or pressing a button, but actually becoming aware of the patterns that you are in. Um, and what I like a lot, what I see you doing, and what I also do a lot in my work, so to say, is use humor. And because when you laugh about something, your mind collapses at that moment. There's just surrender at that moment. And I remember the other day, a person came up. I actually know her quite well. She's a friend of mine, and she has a big brain tumor. And she came up, and at that time you were eating a banana, and but you know, for her it's like a big thing. And then she came up on the stage, and you were sort of like, "Hi, you know, sorry, I'm just have to eat something. I have to eat my banana." And then she said, "Well, I have this brain tumor." And you said, "Well, that's funny. The other day I had a woman, she had 3 brain tumors." And I said, "Hey, that's nice. We can use you as a maraca," you know? And like the audience was like, you know, like this. And then it's like a big laughter. And the lady also, she started laughing. And I realized at that moment what you were sort of doing. You were making the seriousness of the concept just sort of falling away at that moment. And that's the moment where you can sort of get into you can reach the soul or the being inside who is free from the concept of, oh, this is terrible.
Yeah, you're so right about this. And I'm glad that you remember that particular case because that woman that I said that about the maracas, she healed herself. Because the thing is, when you are able to laugh about your problems or at your state, is when healing happens. Because the true self is a joyful energy that is there. When you take seriously, when you take yourself seriously, you take your sickness seriously, everything's gonna be worse. But all of a
Yeah.
sudden I start to laugh, and when I see people like I have cancer, and I start to laugh, I see how the energy start to dissolve. Oh, I have this problem, and they start to laugh, or they start to laugh even at themselves. Oh, I just got 10 extra kilos, and then they start to get back to the normal weight. So that's what we need: more laughter, more joy, and at the end, that's the cure of everything, also.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah.
Okay, Tijn, let's start finishing. Just the last question would be: is there any future events or plans that you have on mind that you want to share?
Yeah. So the other day I was listening to the radio, and the Secretary of State of in Holland, who is responsible for the health of the people. I don't know what it's called, but it doesn't matter. But this guy, he said that half of all the young people in Holland are seriously having mental problems. So they are either addicted, or they're completely stressed out. They're afraid. They're suicidal. And he said, just imagine walking into a classroom and half of the kids are in this state of, of stress and suicidal thoughts. And then the interviewer said, but so what do you do about this? And he said, well, we can't do very much because the people who are trained to do that, like psychologists, they have waiting lists of about a year. So if imagine a child is suicidal right now, wants to go to a psychologist or whatever, oh, you have to wait for a year. It's probably too late then. So 2 days after that, I was giving a webinar on meditation, and I said, everybody under 25 can just join in for free, because that's my way to maybe give you some tools to get out of this state of mind. And 400 children or young people joined in. And I was like, wow, this is amazing, So I said the next day I made a little movie, and I said to all the people that listen to my movies, you probably have some skills or, something that you can offer. Why don't you also offer this to the kids, and let's not wait for the government, but let's do it ourselves. Let's offer whatever we have to offer. And so many people started saying, yeah, I want to offer something. How can I do this? And I thought, oh gosh, how am I going to organize this? And so what we did now, we created an organization called the Brave Space. And the Brave Space is a little bit of a pun on safe space. Safe space right now, everything is a safe space because we are very afraid that we are going to hurt somebody, so we don't say certain words, or maybe you feel touched, or I give you a trigger warning, maybe I'm going to say something that is going to hurt your feelings. And I was listening to a guy who was talking about this. He said, we don't need safe spaces, we need brave spaces. We need to be able to really talk to one another and say things and express ourselves, and don't be afraid, so it's called the Brave Space. And the subtitle is Inspiration for the Next Generation. And I'm just asking people to, and I'd love to ask you also at some stage to just give a talk for free to the youth and just tell them about your own life in a very real way, not like I'm a healer, I'm going to tell you how it works. No, I was fucked up, when I was 18, I was completely lost. I wanted to kill myself. I couldn't even kill myself, even that didn't work. And then I found something, and now, I like to share that with you. So that's what I'm working on right now.
I would love to participate anytime, please.
Thank you.
I love that project because it's what we need right now.
Yeah.
Like, we repress so much our expression. At the end, we start to feel issues in our health. So And another question: why do you always do the lectures or your teachings in Dutch? It's because I would like to understand the energy, but I would love to also to listen your words like right now.
You're so right. So thank you for that inspiration. I mean, it's a little bit laziness, I think. It's like I put stuff out there so much every day anyway. So it's like, sometimes I think, if I can just help Holland, if I can help bring Holland in flow, that's enough. Why should I want to conquer the world? I see sometimes that people are so ambitious, they want to conquer the world, so to say. And I see that sometimes going wrong because they spread themselves thin. So that's one reason why I think, well, just focus on Holland. But I mean, I think you asking this question right now is for me enough motivation to sort of say, yes, I also should be doing that. So thank you for that.
For example, out of 50 lecture, one in English.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because
so what sorry.
You're going to be introduced to my audience also, and most of them, they speak English. So
yeah, exactly.
Follow you.
Yeah, I'll be doing that. Thank you for that. So Jose, what is your what are you working on? What are you occupied with right now? What's keeping you busy?
These days, I'm focusing on online meditations. I'm doing this year course meditation for a year, where the students they have a meeting with me every month, and then they have every week they have some practices. And we have in the second batch right now, and it's amazing to see how people they are integrating these practices. And at the moment I'm busy with it, and sometimes I'm going to places, like I'm going to Holland at the end of September. I'm going to do some events there. But let's say that now the online part, which is something that I was about to mention, since when this COVID start, I didn't even use the Zoom or anything like that, and now my audience is bigger thanks to that. So at the end, as I said, there is some conference coming, and then you have a bigger and better platform to connect even with people in Canada at the same time.
Yeah.
Basically, I'm focusing on this, and at the same time, next year I'm going to travel a lot to visit my masters. I'm going to Australia, back to Australia, and I might go to the Himalayas again. Basically, I'm just focusing on that.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, so when exactly are you coming to Holland?
It's going
Do
to
you have
be
the dates already?
at the end of September, and I have a website, it's mundoharmonia.nl. In there, people can find the events.
Yeah.
Because I don't have carrying right now, let's say, dates in my mind, but in mundoharmonia.nl they will find all the information. It's going to be the first weeks in October, but I'm gonna see you there for sure.
Yeah, I'll definitely be there. I think it's around the corner in the Zonnehuis. It's a very, very beautiful venue. I've done some things there, and it's so sweet and loving, and just a really beautiful place. So I'm really looking forward to seeing you there.
And that was a recommendation, that venue from you. So
Yeah, yeah, it's a good place. Yeah,
okay, I think that's it for the moment.
yeah,
We might do maybe later or in the future another interview
yeah,
talking about your new book and your new information or
yeah.
anything you want to share. Thank you so much for being sharing today. Said a lot of beautiful things that it touched my heart, especially with the brave space.
Thank you.
I hope that everything will be fantastic for you. You're gonna keep on touching people's heart and creating music and everything. And I'm gonna see you soon. Thank
See
you.
you soon, Jose. Thank you for this opportunity, and blessings on your work, on your life, and I'm happy that we will meet in life soon. Thank
Thank
you.
you very
All
much.
right.